All right, hello and welcome back to Newbreed Film Reviews. We're on episode 23, and you got Dave on the podcast with me.
What's up?
And me and him are going to go over the movie Snowpiercer. And this is kind of just like this little gem. I was flicking through Netflix, and to be honest, I was listening to another film podcast, and the guy rated it as like one of his top 10 films. And I was like, you know what? Let me check it out, especially because it's like the scientific, sci-fi genre, action. I was like, you know what, that sounds like it's right up my alley.
I'm sorry, bro, I didn't mean to cut you off, but he ranked it top 10 of all time for him?
For personally, like
what?
His top 10 films. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
No
I thought
lie.
it was good,
yes.
But I don't know about top 10.
I literally just finished watching it like 10 minutes ago. I wouldn't put it as top 10. It's a cool, I'd probably buy it. I'd probably own it. But it's not going to be in one of my top 10 picks. Mm-hmm. But it was one of the guy's top 10 picks. I was like, okay, that's worth me trying to see what it's all about,
I'm gonna let it grade it when it's my shot to kind of rant on it. I got a couple of things to say about it.
Yeah. So I guess for anybody that doesn't know what it's about, I'll read the storyline from IMDb just to give you an idea of what the premise of it is. So it's set in 2031. And the entire world is frozen except for these people aboard the Snowpiercer, which is this crazy futuristic kind of train. And for 17 years, the world survivors are on this train that's hurtling around the globe, and they're creating their own economy, their own class system. They're doing a sustainability for as far as food and everything would go. And there is a group in the back of the bus that's led by Curtis, which Curtis is played by Chris Evans, and they're kind of like lower class citizens that are in the back, and they try to get up to the front of the train where all the rich people are. And each section in the train gives us all these new surprises and all these different battles and craziness and basic revolution, against lower class versus higher class, which is a storyline that can be seen through many generations. So overall, Dave, I literally just saw it, like I said, like 10 minutes ago. I finished watching it. Dave, it's been a while since he's seen it, so he might be a little rusty on some parts.
Just a little bit.
Overall, Dave, what do you think? It's a good watch. Like, you recommend people to watch it?
Well, okay, like I'm going to tell you like how I came across it. Probably similar to how you came across it. I was bored. It was like a weekend. I was off from work, and I just like, a little inside scoop on like my personal life. I wild out on the weekends, dude. Like, I don't sleep. My schedule gets completely off when I go back to work. I am just like up all night watching films. So like I was bored. I'm like going through Netflix and stuff. And I remember like my friend Billy recommended it to me like a while back, and I really didn't think much about it, but he was ranting about it. And I came across it on Netflix. So I was like, what the heck? So I hit play, and it was like obviously low budget. Like,
yeah.
you can tell it was like low budget, but it was like one of those like good, like when there's like a sci-fi channel movie and it's low budget, but the story was good and it was okay.
Yeah.
So it was like that. Like the story saved it, and Chris Evans was in it, and like I thought it was kind of cool.
Just to touch on like the low budgetness, I think honestly they you can tell it was low budget, but they used the money well. They dumped a lot into like the design and a lot into they put the CGI needed some work, but they dumped a lot in the design and everything like that. Well, so I think they spent the money well.
The set design was good. Like, that was convincing.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. They dumped the money into a lot of money in set design. The CGI needed work.
Yeah, like you could tell it was low budget in that aspect, but like and sometimes with like camera work, like I'm so in tune with movies sometimes at this point that like I can look at a movie and the quality of like the camera work, like not like the shots, but like just the way that they look. I can tell it's like a lower budget. It's weird. I can't even explain it, but going back to the movie, I just stumbled across it, hit play, started watching. The story kind of sucked me in. It was very like symbolic, excuse me. It had a lot of like metaphors and stuff, and it was like
symbolic.
Symbolic. That's a new word. That's probably a word.
That's new. That's in the Dave dictionary.
Symbiotic, symbiosis. So no, it was a good movie, and I was doing some research on it, and it's based off of like a French novel, and it's a South Korean film. And I'm gonna shut up and let you take over for a little bit, but the one cool thing about it that just hit me right away was that I got a little more respect for Chris Evans for humbling himself and doing a lower budget movie. Because at this point, he already was Captain America. He's already like a star, you know what I mean? And he actually went there and did a lower budget movie. It may have been filmed before Captain America. I don't know, but it was released after. So I thought it was kind of cool that he lowered himself and was like, I'll do this movie with a good story.
Yeah. I was just looking, scrolling through like his films right around, I guess. So I don't know when he came on the scene a while back, but so around that time, 2013 is the movie we're talking about now, Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
And he was in The Iceman, which is a good movie. He played Mr. Freezy.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the year before, or same year as this. And then he did the Avengers. Mm-hmm. So that came out in 2012?
Yeah, he did Captain America before Snowpiercer, dude.
No, 2011. Yeah, 2011, Captain America. He did the Avengers 2012. He did Mr. Freezy and the Iceman, and then he did Snowpiercer. And obviously did Winter Soldier and stuff like that. So, yeah, you're right. It's cool that he humbled himself, and this kind of is a different kind of role for him. You know, like when he's a Captain America, he's a squeaky clean soldier kind of guy, and this is like, well, we'll get into spoilers later towards the end, but you can tell he's a really messed up individual when you find out his backstory.
Yeah, he's screwed up, dude. Like the story, like I said, like for a lower budget movie, they kind of, I mean, it was edgy. They didn't pull any punches with the movie. Like it was like that kind of made up for like the low budgetness. Like it was like, all right, like this movie is just like raw and it is what it is.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, we got to get into spoilers like a little later and warn everybody, but
yeah, we do. But I guess the director, if you look at him, he's a South Korean director, and he basically all his films are horror films. So this probably would be his like first. It looks like his first English film and his first kind of non-horror, but you can tell he definitely took the horror kind of genre and stuck it into this sci-fi action, just with the over-the-top craziness.
Two actors that I like in the movie, like overall as like actors. One of the actors, he's old school. He's the old guy. His name is John Hurt, and his claim to fame is he was in the first Alien movie by Ridley Scott, and he was the first guy who got impregnated by an alien, and it like busted out of his.
He's the guy on the table?
He's the guy on the table, dude.
Wow.
Yep, he goes way back. He has a long career.
Yep.
And I'm trying to.
He's the guy that cut his arms off. He's the guy that like cut his arm off in the movie.
In Snowpiercer?
Yeah.
See, dude, I seen it like a while ago. I kind of remember that. Okay. Yeah. Oh, his name was Kane in Alien. Yep, he was the guy at the dinner table, the space table, and like he's like spitting stuff up.
And they throw him on the table, and that's when the first alien pops through.
So he's in it, and this actress that I like, her name is let me look this up.
Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton. I like her. Something about her is unique and different. She's very quirky. She's like a Johnny Depp kind of actress, but for a chick. She does like really quirky roles. But she was in Constantine. She played Gabriel.
Yep.
I dig her.
That's the one I remembered her right away from when I saw her. Ed Harris was pretty good too.
Oh,
he was only like in the last 20 minutes though.
I love Ed Harris. He's so underrated.
He is.
He's in one of my favorite movies, Abyss. The Abyss. Yep. And he was in, I think there's a movie called Appaloosa. I think that's what it's called. It's like a Western. He's in a ton of movies, dude. He was in Radio.
Yeah.
I like him
in Radio. Cuba Gooding.
I don't know, man.
Kind of good.
Yeah. Dude, Cuba Gooding, like, I think we've talked about this on this podcast, or maybe I did on another one, but it was so transparent that he was going for that Oscar. He just tried way too hard. He was like, I'm going to play the special kid role and like just nail this. And they're going to have sympathy, a sympathy card. I'm going to get an Oscar.
Yep.
It's like, oh man, he was okay. It didn't get me.
Too bad for him now. Now he's going to be doing Netflix movies for the rest of his life.
Dude, Cuba Gooding should have hopped on that Avengers train, and he should have been War Machine.
Yeah, there you go.
He missed out, dude.
Something. He should have been something.
Because if Don Cheadle could get it, they could have gave it to Cuba.
Yeah, Cuba would have brought that little kind of gangstiness to it, you know.
Yeah, he's out of the running for that. But I guess back to Snowpiercer.
Yes. So do you have anything else that you want to get into before we kind of spoil it? Or talk about spoilers, you know? In case anybody that wants to check out the film, you know, might want to.
Yeah. I'll let it grade it before we even get into the nitty gritty, and I'll just say if I recommend it or not, or if I'll own it. That's like a good gauge for me if I'll own it or not. So for a letter grade, again, for what it is, low budget Netflix movie, I give it a B. That's like good to me. Like that's like watchable. I'll finish it. If somebody's bored out there, sure, like check it out. Snowpiercer. You're bored on a Saturday night, have no life like me, watch Snowpiercer. What else?
Or like me, I guess, on a Friday night doing a podcast with you after I watched it.
Yeah, we're movie nerds, dude. Would I own it? That's a whole nother topic.
Yep.
Would I own Snowpiercer, and for how much? If I saw it, again, we use the Walmart bin all the time.
Yeah.
If it's in a Walmart bin for $3, I'll own it. That doesn't mean
$5.
Not $5, dude. It's
all right.
I'll
go for $5. I'll go for $5.
$5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. $3.99 is as high as I'll go with that.
I'm kind of interested to see the behind the scenes though. How they filmed in that tiny little train the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I said, $3.99, under $5. That doesn't mean it's bad. I usually I'll buy a movie if I really like it or if it has good effects.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't there with the effects, you know.
No.
Wonder if Gil saw it.
I don't know, but he should definitely check it out. He's a big sci-fi fan.
Yeah.
So let's get into a little bit of like spoilers. We'll talk about comments that we saw within the movie, over the top parts, and if anybody's seen this, they're gonna realize that if it definitely has like a comic booky kind of feel to it with this over the top action, you know. And there's a lot of things that you have to just kind of like, you can't sit there and analyze it and say like, no, that wouldn't happen in reality, because you just got to go with it. You know, like there's a lot of things like at first when the guy gets his arm frozen, you know,
it's over the top.
One part. Yeah. There's one part where they want to show you how crazy freezing it is outside, and they punish this guy by sticking his arm outside the train. And they tell you that 7 minutes is all his arm needs to have to freeze, and then they pull his arm out, and it's like an ice cube, and they like take a sledgehammer to it, and they just break his arm off, and it is in these like little ice cube chunks, and they like sweep it into like a little little pan, and they just kind of throw it away, and the guy like acts like nothing happened because he just had a frozen arm. So they just took a sledgehammer and like knocked his arm in pieces.
Dude, he probably didn't even feel it, like, because it was so cold. But
dude, he wasn't even like screaming or anything.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I knew what was gonna happen, because they kind of they almost kind of kept it kept it suspenseful, like what's gonna happen to his arm. And I was like, I knew like it's gonna be like T-1000 status, like it's gonna shatter.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to cover like what the ratings were before we get any further. Like,
oh yeah, sure.
IMDb gave it a 7 out of 10, which I think that's fair. It could have been a little higher.
I would say an 8. That's like if I was going to do 1 out of 10. I liked it personally. I'd say an 8.
Not overall for every movie in the world, but like for what it is, you know.
Yeah. For the niche that it's in, you know, sci-fi action thriller, you know. Yeah.
Metacritic gave it an 84%, which is that's generous, like, you know. Rotten Tomatoes went crazy with it. They gave it a 95%.
Rotten Tomatoes 95%?
Yeah, dude, I don't know about that.
High. That's high right there.
I think the web moderator for Rotten Tomatoes must be related to the director. That's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
95%. But they probably grade for like what it is too. That's why.
Well,
You
yeah. I
know.
mean, I'm sure they take a lot of things into consideration. Maybe like budget. Maybe.
Hmm.
I mean, Chris Evans did a good job acting. I think he did a
Yeah.
good job acting throughout the whole thing.
Dude, look at this. So I'm looking online. Voodoo has it for rental for $17.99. They're out of their mind.
Yeah.
iTunes got it for $9.99 and Amazon got it for $3.99. $3.99, dude.
There you
Look at
go.
that. Look at that.
I'll take
Amazon.
it. Anybody that wants to watch it, just take it for free on Netflix right now.
Yeah. Amazon knows what's up though. $3.99. Um.
Yeah.
Okay. Like so. Back to like the spoiler portion of the podcast, right?
Yeah.
So they broke dude's arm off. How about
Yeah.
the scene that you just reminded me of with when they go through the tunnel and they have
Yeah. So
axes?
yeah. So like this is like a typical cheesy kind of action movie. So they're all sitting there. They're trying to move their way from the back of the train to the front of the train. And then the girl's like, "Don't open the door! Don't open the door!" All dramatic, and all of a sudden it opens the door and you see like 100 dudes holding axes with like masks, like black masks on, looking like executioners,
Hmm.
and you're thinking to yourself like, "Oh shit!" And then they start going in and fighting each other, and then the main lady that we're talking about, whatever her name is in the movie, Mason, but her
Tilda
actress
chick,
name
right?
is Tilda. Yeah, yeah. She comes in and she stops. She stops the fighting, and she gets a call from the front of the train to eliminate 74% of the population in the room. So they're like, "Oh, 74% of you must go," So all of a sudden, all the guys start throwing night vision glasses on, and then the fight scene turns into night vision because they go into a tunnel. So they're like swinging axes and stuff with night vision,
Hmm.
over the top action.
I was surprised how gory it was, to be honest. Like
Oh yeah, really.
they showed
They
some,
didn't.
yeah, they showed people getting hacked up, and yeah, that was one thing that stood out. Which I'm all for that. I'm cool with, like gore, but like not like unnecessary gore, where it's just like I'm trying to think what movie that I didn't care for that was just like nonstop, like Hostel. Like
Yeah,
Hostel's okay, but it's like it's too much. Like it's too crazy.
yeah. Like when they take that blowtorch to that girl's eyeball.
that was kind of funny. And then like it's like dangling out of her eye, out of her socket. Yeah,
Wow.
that was ridiculous, man.
Yeah, over
Uh,
the top.
Wait, that's
But
like
yeah,
gore with no substance behind it. Like it's just to do it, you know?
but if you think about like break down that train, break down this scene. Tell me another movie where you're gonna have 100 people in a metal box in a train, and half of them with night vision goggles swinging axes at each other.
Yeah.
That's kind of like you're not gonna see that anywhere else.
Hmm. Dude, how
Now the
about?
funny part is,
Go ahead, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and then the gore was messed up, but how about some of the parts of the storyline, dude? Like you touched on this. Tom Cruise did it, like with Collateral. Denzel did it. They did this after established careers. Denzel went bad in Training Day. Chris Evans doing that crap early. Like he
Yeah, he
kind of
is.
was an anti-hero in this movie, and dark past. Like
Oh yeah.
when I say dark, I mean like about as twisted as you can ever hear about in a movie. You want to
Yeah.
touch on that
No,
one?
you go right into that. I'll
This
comment.
this dude, okay, if I remember correctly, because like they were like the lower classes towards the back of the train were hungry, right? And they
Yeah,
were
this is
given,
before they gave them those like protein bars. This is
yeah.
before they gave them the protein bars.
So they were like starving in back of the train, and they had to kind of like resort to doing what they had to do. And some people kind of kept their humanity and like, okay, they basically became cannibals.
Yeah.
Like, and the weak, the old, and like children were like eaten. And Chris
Right.
Chris Evans was one of the ones that like ate babies and kids. That is like
Yep.
messed up. And then
Yeah.
his mentor in the movie was very like he had like a high moral compass, very honorable. Like he didn't resort to that. He cut his own limbs off and like was feeding it to people, like so they won't.
Instead of the
Yeah.
baby, like saving the babies.
Mhm.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
the movie was cool. Like, I'm gonna shut up, but like one of the main themes is like redemption, and like he went from being a dark character to like seeing the good in others and like making a turnaround and like sacrificing himself.
Yeah. Well, do you remember at the end of the movie, he finds out that little kid, can you believe they stick that little kid in like the little machine and make that little
Dude,
kid like, I don't even know what he's doing, but he's like shoving stuff in the machine manually. They got like this like 5-year-old kid that they put inside the machine, and he's like feeding the machine something.
Yeah.
Like constantly.
Yeah, they needed him to lubricate, I think, like parts.
Yeah.
Like, cause like every machine is continuous. Like, not every machine. Every machine has breakdown moments, and like the theme of the movie was like this train was continuous and never had to stop or never needed repairs. It was like self-sufficient, but
yeah, it was like a what would they call it? Self-powered engine or something. It wasn't like a gas-run engine. It was like a propelling engine or whatever.
Yeah, like they made it seem like the train didn't need any maintenance or anything like that. And if anybody knows anything about any kind of mechanics, things wear down. So like in the movie, they kind of hid the fact that they needed like a human tiny enough to fit in this compartment and just like lubricate like this one part, if I remember, and it's messed up. Yep. And then when they get old enough, they either kill them or something and bring somebody else in, another kid. Yeah. And that was twisted, dude.
So, well, and remember, Chris Evans said that story like you just brought up, where he watched the guy cut his own arm off to feed it instead of the baby. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the movie, Chris Evans takes the floorboard up, mm-hmm. and then he shoves his arm down in there. And when he shoves his arm down in there to get the kid out, mm-hmm. His arm gets cut off. So he kind of sacrifices his own arm to save the kid. So
see, I don't even remember that part. I know he did something at the end. He does die though, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, the train crashes, and then there's only the Chinese girl, and then the little kid that was in the floorboards is alive.
Yeah. And then another aspect of the movie, they touched on how like there's no life on the planet at all, and then at one point, they showed like a polar bear. Like, I think it was at the end or something, and it was like, you see like some animal, and it kind of shows that like, that there was still like life out there. And, yeah, man, I mean, I thought it was, I liked the movie. I mean, I really enjoyed the movie for what it was, and, it was, what saved it as far as like the low budgetness that would turn me off is the story, the grittiness, and the actors in it, like Chris Evans and Ed Harris. So,
do you remember the scene of the schoolroom, like the teachers like singing, and then all of a sudden they bring the thing full of eggs in, and then like the pregnant teacher, like happy-go-lucky teacher, takes like a machine gun out of like the eggs and shoots up the whole room full of kids. And that's like one of the first rooms that they go into, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, where's this movie going?
I remember, dude. It's like, yeah, man. How many movies you watch that show kids getting killed? Or things alluded to, okay, first of all, babies being eaten.
Yes.
Even talking about that in a movie is like way out there and daring as heck. Right. And I kudos to the director and the writers, and I know it's from a novel. That dude who wrote that's like messed up.
Yeah, he is. When they have the funny part is too, like, do you remember all the different compartments of the train? Like you have like the back, and it's all crappy and run down, and this as you move through the front, there's like an aquarium in the train with like sushi, and then there's like a dance club and stuff like that. The funny part I think of is, so at the beginning at the back of the train, there's like those 100 guys in axes and like masks. Mm-hmm. So that means they gotta like walk through the club. They gotta like walk through the kids' place. They're like walking through the pool area and stuff like that. Like no matter what, in the movie they kind of represent the different sections of the train. Mm-hmm. But to be honest, you gotta walk through every single part of the train to get from the front to back, no matter what anyways. So I just thought it was kind of funny that you have like this room full of like 100 executioners
Mm-hmm.
and axes, and you're like, okay, they're not in that room at all times. So on the train, you go from the front to the back of the train in the entire movie. So where the hell do they where the hell do they stay?
Yeah, those are one of those like technical aspects of the movie that if you think too hard, you're gonna just tear it down. But I hear where you're coming from with that.
I just thought it was funny.
One more thing I wanted to say was the I guess one of the main themes in the movie is like classes, and it kind of like mirrors like classes in society, like for real and in reality, and like it was true, man. Like the compartments towards the front were all like lavish and they were like living it up, and it's like the people in the back were like poor and like struggling and like hungry, and it was they're
feeding them bug bars.
Yeah, dude, and it was like a movie about haves and like have nots. You know what I mean? Like, so that was kind of cool, like the little messages and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's this crazy sci-fi movie where people are hitting each other with axes and people are eating babies and and doing drugs like industrial waste, but it does have that lingering meaning of lower class evening up with the upper class, So,
dude, one movie I want to see that's it looks like it's low budget, but it came out in like select theaters. It just came out. It's called Ex Machina. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah,
and it has it's based on, it's like robotics and artificial intelligence and like exploring
that's
that.
They're making like real life, like a realistic android.
Yeah, like a
female
chick.
android. Yeah.
And it has the dude from Drive, the guy who played the Spanish guy Standard.
He's pretty good.
Yeah. So he's getting a little momentum, and he's like the lead in that movie, which is cool.
Yeah.
You could tell it's low budget, but I'm interested in it. Like I wanna check it out.
It should be pretty cool.
I just saw Avengers 2. Actually, you know this. I did a review on our podcast, and we got the little group discussion on that.
Yeah, I got to get out to the movies and go see it.
It's craziness, dude. It was good.
Yeah, I would definitely want to check it out.
Really enjoyed it.
All right, so overall, $3.99. You see it, you buy it.
Yes.
And you give it an overall B.
Overall B for a low budget streaming movie. Yes, a B.
I agree with you. I think that anybody, if you're flicking around Netflix, you should definitely check it out. Mm-hmm. If you definitely like stuff within the sci-fi genre and you're all right with it's kind of like gore, because there's some gore in it. Mm-hmm. And if you're not like a super analytical person where you like analyze like this could happen, this couldn't happen, this could happen, this couldn't happen, just enjoy the ride, That
dude who said it was his top 10 of all time, I don't know who said that, dude, but like,
no, he's got
wild.
Yeah, I listened to I won't name the podcast, but and they have like vastly different guys and vastly different movie tastes, and he always picks like the weird movies, like always like a lot of movies I've never seen before are like his like top movies. So it's just not my type, but this one kind of like fits right in there.
Weird fella.
Yeah.
So what do you think, man? You think that covers Snowpiercer? I
think so. And I hope you listen to it and you decide to check it out. I think it's worth a watch. Mm-hmm.
All right, man. So what are we doing for episode 24? We have no idea yet, huh?
No idea. Okay. I know that when we might do a solo or a duo episode in between there, but we're going to be coming up and we're going to be doing our actual personal Netflix recommendations coming up. So you guys are going to see a Netflix episode in the future. And me, you, Paul, will all break down what we recommend on Netflix right now to watch. Yeah.
And we're also going to bang out probably like, more solos and duo reviews. Cause we do like the triple, review thing, but like it's sometimes hard to coordinate. And one of us can watch a movie, the other two not, or two can watch it, and then, so we'll get more content out there.
Right. All right.
All right, dude.
I think that about sums it up.
Yep. So we'll be back with episode 24.
All right.
All right. Later.
Later.